The acid hisses against my skin like a serpent's kiss. I scream. God help me, I scream until my throat tears, until the world dissolves into nothing but white-hot agony that devours my face, my shoulder, eating through flesh like I'm nothing. Like I'm paper. Like I'm. That's what whores get, Luna Morgana says, her voice cutting through my shrieks with surgical precision. That's what happens when you spread your legs for another woman's mate. I didn't. I swear I didn't. But no one will believe in Omega. Especially not one who's already broken. The pack gathering has gone silent around us. 200 wolves watching, and not one moves to help. Why would they? I'm property. Less than that. I'm the daughter of traders, the last surviving member of the Blackwood line, kept alive only to suffer as entertainment. The wolfsbane in the acid burns deeper than ordinary fire. It poisons the wound, prevents healing, makes sure the damage is permanent. I can feel it working through my veins like liquid hatred, and my wolf, my poor, shattered wolf who hasn't spoken in 3 years, doesn't even whimper. She's already gone. She left me the night they murdered my family. Look at her, Morgana croons, circling me where I've collapsed on the ground. Her designer heels click against stone. Look at the mighty Blackwood legacy. On her knees where she belongs. My hands clutch at my face, trying to hold myself together, but I can feel the skin sloughing off beneath my fingers. The smell of burning flesh fills my nostrils. My stomach heaves, but there's nothing in it. They don't feed Omegas much. Luna Morgana is right, someone calls from the crowd. Aria's been making eyes at Alpha Derek for weeks. Lies. All lies. I keep my eyes down. I scrub floors and wash dishes and try to be invisible because invisible Omegas sometimes survive another day. But Morgana sees threats everywhere, especially in broken things that can't fight back. String her up, Morgana orders. Let everyone see what happens to. She stops mid-sentence. The temperature drops so suddenly that frost crystallizes on the ground beneath my bloody hands. My breath mists white. Around me, wolves start backing away, their conversations dying like candle flames in a hurricane. The silence that follows isn't mercy. It's the presence of death itself, wearing a king's crown. I can't see him, my left eye won't focus anymore, and the right is swimming with tears, but I can feel him. Every wolf can feel him. Alpha King Kale Nightshade doesn't just enter a space. He devours it, bends it, makes it his. What, says a voice like grinding stone, is happening here? The pack drops. Every single wolf goes to their knees, necks bared in submission. Even Alpha Derek, Morgana's mate, hits the ground so fast I hear his kneecaps crack. Only Morgana stays standing, but barely. She's trembling. Your Majesty. We weren't expecting. I don't announce my inspections. His footsteps echo in the unnatural quiet. I prefer to see packs as they truly are. So I'll ask again, what is happening here? A disciplinary matter, Your Majesty. Morgana's recovered some of her composure, but her voice still wavers. This Omega attempted to seduce my mate. I was merely scarring her for life with wolfsbane. The king's tone could freeze hell. In front of the entire pack. As entertainment? She's an Omega. She has no rights. She's a wolf. The correction cracks like a whip. Every wolf has rights under my law. Even broken ones. Even enslaved ones. Even the daughter of traders. He knows who I am. Of course he knows. The Alpha King knows everything. I'm still on the ground, my hands pressed to my ruined face, trying not to exist. If I'm very lucky, he'll pass judgment on Morgana and forget about me entirely. I don't need rescue. I need to disappear. But then he's there, crouching beside me, and the scent of him hits like a physical blow. Pine and snow and something wild that makes my broken wolf stir for the first time in 3 years. She lifts her head in the darkness of my mind, confused, drawn to something she can't name. Let me see, he says quietly. It's not a request. His power washes over me, compelling obedience, but there's something else underneath it. Something that feels almost like concern. I lower my hands slowly. The left side of my face is gone. I can feel it. The acid ate through my cheek, my jaw, melted the skin of my shoulder where it splattered. I'm a monster now. Even more than before. The Alpha King goes very, very still. Look at me, he orders. I can't. I'm Omega. I'm nothing. Looking at an Alpha King is suicide. Arya. My name in his mouth sounds like a prayer and a curse. Look. At. Me. Some force stronger than self-preservation makes me lift my gaze. My remaining eye focuses on his face, and I forget how to breathe. He's beautiful the way winter is beautiful, deadly and vast and utterly inhuman. Black hair, pale skin, eyes like molten silver that seem to see straight through flesh to whatever soul I have left. There are scars on his throat, old claw marks that someone tried to rip out his voice with. They failed. Obviously. Those silver eyes bore into mine, searching for something, and then his entire body locks up. His pupils dilate. A growl builds in his chest, low and dangerous and possessive, the kind of sound that makes prey animals run. But I can't run. I can barely breathe. No, he whispers. No, that's impossible. Behind him, Morgana makes a strangled sound. Your Majesty. He doesn't answer her. He's staring at me like I'm a ghost, like I'm something that shouldn't exist. His hand reaches out slowly, carefully, like he's afraid I'll shatter if he moves too fast. When his fingers brush my unburned shoulder, lightning arcs between us. The bond. Oh God. Oh no. Mate, his wolf snarls through his lips, turning his voice inhuman. Mine. The pack erupts in chaos. Wolves are shouting, gasping, falling over themselves. Morgana shrieks something about abominations. Alpha Derek is trying to restore order, but no one's listening because the Alpha King just claimed the pack's lowest Omega as his mate. But I can't hear any of it over the roaring in my ears. My wolf should be singing. Should be recognizing him, reaching for him, completing the bond that fate or moon or whatever cruel deity arranged this decided to forge between us. But she's too broken. She stirs, confused by the pull she feels, but she doesn't know what it means. 3 years of trauma have shattered something fundamental inside her, inside me, and now the most powerful wolf in all the territories is staring at me with possession and fury and something almost like grief in his eyes. You can't feel it, he says softly. Can you? I shake my head. Barely. Everything hurts. Your wolf is too damaged to recognize the bond. It's not a question, but I nod anyway. What else can I do? He's my mate. The Alpha King is my mate. And I'm too broken to even know what that means. The cold radiating from him intensifies. The ground beneath us frosts over completely. When he speaks again, his voice could shatter mountains. How long? He's not asking me. He's turned to face the pack, to face Alpha Derek and Morgana, and there's death in his eyes. How long has she been enslaved here? How long has this abuse been happening? No one answers. Smart wolves don't volunteer information to angry kings. 3 years, he roars, and several wolves whimper. She's been here 3 years, and this is her condition? This is how you treat pack members? She's not pack, Morgana spits, apparently deciding suicide is better than silence. She's the daughter of traitors who tried to overthrow your father. Her whole family deserved what they got, and she. The Alpha King moves faster than thought. One moment he's crouched beside me. The next, his hand is around Morgana's throat, lifting her off the ground like she weighs nothing. My mate, he says with terrifying calm, was 11 years old when my father slaughtered her family. She was a child. And you've been torturing her for 3 years because of sins she never committed. Morgana claws at his hand, gasping. Alpha Derek starts forward but freezes when the king's eyes cut to him. You allowed this, Kale says. In your pack. Under your protection. You allowed your mate to torture a child until she broke. She's 18 now, Derek tries. She's not a child. She was 11, then 14, then 16. When does it stop being child abuse in your mind, Alpha? The king's voice drops to something barely audible. When does it become acceptable? He releases Morgana, letting her drop to the ground where she gasps for air. Then he turns back to me, and his expression shifts. The rage doesn't leave. But something else enters, something protective and possessive and absolutely unyielding. You're coming with me, he says. I want to argue. Want to explain that I'm nothing, nobody, that he should reject this bond and find a worthy mate, a whole mate, someone who isn't hideously scarred and traumatized and broken beyond repair. But I can't speak. The words won't come. So I just nod, this ruined thing that fate decided to chain to a king, and let him lift me into his arms like I matter. Like I'm not nothing. His scent wraps around me, pine and snow and safety, and for the first time in 3 years, my wolf whispers something in the darkness. It's not recognition. It's not completion. It's just one word, confused and tentative and impossibly fragile. Home. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. The world comes back in pieces. Pain first. Always pain. It's my constant companion, my oldest friend, the only thing I can rely on to be honest with me. This pain is different though, sharper, cleaner, like my body is trying to knit itself back together and doesn't quite remember how. Voices next. Low and urgent, speaking words I can't quite grasp. Infection spreading despite the wolfsbane neutralizer. Won't survive the night if we can't. The king won't accept that answer, so find another one. The king. Memory crashes through me like a wave. Silver eyes. Pine and snow. The word mate spoken in a voice that could command death itself. I try to open my eyes, but only one responds. The left side of my face is bandaged so heavily I can barely feel it, which is probably a mercy. I remember the acid, Morgana's laughter, the way my skin melted like candle wax. I remember being lifted into arms that felt impossibly strong and inexplicably safe. She's waking, someone says. A woman, voice crisp with authority. Your Majesty, you should. I'm not leaving. That voice. His voice. It rolls through the room like thunder across mountains. Continue. I manage to get my right eye fully open. The ceiling above me is vaulted stone, carved with intricate patterns that seem to move in the flickering torchlight. Not the basement where I usually sleep. Not the pack house at all. A palace. I'm in a palace. Terror gives me strength I shouldn't have. I try to sit up, but hands, gentle hands, shockingly, press me back down. Easy, the woman's voice says. She swims into view, older, maybe 50, with silver threading through dark hair and eyes that have seen too much. You're safe here, child. You're in the Shadow Kingdom, under the king's protection. Safe. What a useless word. I've never been safe. I turn my head, the movement sends fresh agony lancing through my damaged face, and find him. Alpha King Kale Nightshade stands by the window, backlit by moonlight that seems to bend around him like it's afraid to touch him directly. He's not looking at me. He's staring out at his territory with his hands clasped behind his back, but every line of his body is rigid with tension. How long? His question is directed at the healer, but his eyes never leave the window. 3 days, Your Majesty. The wolfsbane-laced acid was concentrated enough to kill a normal wolf. That she survived at all is impossible, he finishes. Yes. You've said that 12 times now, Healer Marin. What you haven't said is why. The healer, Marin, hesitates. I can smell her uncertainty, her fear of delivering bad news to a king who's been prowling these halls like a caged beast for 3 days straight. 3 days. I've been unconscious for 3 days. There's something in her bloodline, Marin says carefully. Something old. The wolfsbane should have severed any remaining connection to her wolf permanently, should have shut down her healing entirely. But there's a resistance. Like her body remembers being stronger than this. Lunar Guardian, Kale says quietly. Not a question. A statement. The room goes absolutely silent. That's extinct, Marin whispers. The last Lunar Guardian died 200 years ago when the moon goddess withdrew her favor. Clearly not. Kale finally turns from the window, and his eyes find mine. The impact of that silver gaze nearly stops my heart. The Blackwood line wasn't just any family. They were descendants of the goddess's chosen protectors. That's why my father killed them. They were the only bloodline powerful enough to challenge his rule. He moves toward the bed, each step measured and controlled, like he's fighting himself with every inch. That's why Morgana tortured you specifically, he continues, his voice dropping to something deadly soft. She knew what you were. What you could become. I want to speak, to tell him he's wrong, that I'm nothing special, just a broken Omega who can't even feel her own wolf anymore. But my throat is raw from screaming, from 3 days of fighting an infection that should have killed me. Kale stops at the foot of the bed. When Arya is strong enough to travel internally, I want a full diagnostic. Blood work, magical resonance, everything. I want to know exactly what was done to her wolf. Your Majesty, Marin starts. And send word to Alpha Derek. His voice could freeze fire. Inform him that I will be conducting a formal investigation into the treatment of pack members at Silvercrest. He and his mate are hereby summoned to the Shadow Kingdom to answer for their crimes against he stops himself. Against a member of an extinct royal bloodline. He almost said mate. Almost claimed me in front of witnesses. But he caught himself, and I don't know if that's mercy or cruelty. I'll see to it immediately, Marin says, bowing. She looks at me with something like pity before leaving, her footsteps echoing down what must be a very long hallway. Then we're alone. The silence stretches between us like a living thing, full of words neither of us knows how to speak. Kale stands at the foot of the bed, hands clenched at his sides, looking at me like I'm a puzzle he can't solve. You don't feel it, he finally says. The bond. I shake my head. It's all I can manage. Something that might be pain flashes across his face before he locks it down behind that kingly mask. Your wolf is completely silent. I nod. For how long? I hold up 3 fingers. 3 years. He closes his eyes briefly. Since the night you arrived at Silvercrest. Since they enslaved you. Another nod. Each movement sends pain radiating through my skull, but I need him to understand. I'm broken. Whatever fate or the moon goddess or cosmic chance thought would happen between us can't happen. I can't be anyone's mate. I can barely be a person. Did Morgana do something specific? His eyes open again, pinning me. Beyond the beatings, the starvation, the acid. Did she perform any kind of ritual? My breath catches. How does he know? I can see it in your eyes, he says softly. Tell me. I point to my throat, shaking my head. Can't speak. Not yet. He moves then, faster than my damaged eye can track, and suddenly he's beside the bed, pulling a chair close enough that I can smell that intoxicating scent of pine and snow and winter nights. He produces a notebook and pen from somewhere, do kings carry office supplies, and sets them on the bed beside me. Write it, he orders. Then, softer, please. That last word costs him something. I can see it in the tension around his eyes. Kings don't say please. They command, they demand, they take. But he's asking. My hand shakes as I pick up the pen. The simple act of holding it exhausts me, but I force my fingers to cooperate. The letters come out shaky, barely legible. 6 months after I arrived. Morgana brought a witch. They held me down in the basement. Drew symbols on my skin in blood. The witch chanted something in a language I didn't know. My wolf screamed and then, silence. Like she died inside me. I have to stop writing. The memory alone is enough to make my chest constrict, to send panic clawing up my throat. Kale reads what I've written, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Frost creeps across the windows. The torches flicker and dim. A severing ritual, he says, each word precisely articulated, like he's barely holding on to control. She paid a witch to perform a severing ritual on a child. He stands abruptly, the chair scraping against stone, and begins to pace. It's the first time I've seen him move without absolute control, and it's terrifying. This is the beast under the crown, the predator wearing human skin. Do you know what that ritual does? He's not really asking me. He's talking to himself, working through rage that could level cities. It doesn't just suppress the wolf. It amputates it. Cuts it away from the human soul like removing a limb. The pain alone should have killed you. The trauma should have shattered your mind completely. I write again, because I need him to understand. Why didn't it? He stops pacing to read my question, and something like grim satisfaction crosses his face. Because you're not an Omega. You never were. Lunar Guardians don't have traditional pack hierarchy. They exist outside the Alpha, Beta, Omega structure entirely. Morgana forced you into submission, broke your wolf, convinced you that you were bottom of the pack. But your blood knew differently. Your body fought to survive because Guardians don't submit. Not really. Not even when they should. The implications crash through me. Everything I believed about myself, every truth Morgana beat into my bones over 3 years, lies. All lies. I'm not an Omega. I'm not nothing. I don't even know what I am. Why did she do it? I write, my hand trembling harder now. Why go through all that trouble to break me? Kale's expression goes dark. Because Lunar Guardians have a gift. They can channel the moon goddess's power, can enforce her laws, can see through deception and dark magic. If you'd come into your full abilities, you would have been able to expose every dirty secret Morgana was hiding. Every manipulation, every scheme, every drop of innocent blood on her hands. He crouches beside the bed again, bringing those silver eyes level with mine. She didn't just break your wolf, Arya. She stole your power. The severing ritual doesn't destroy magic, it redirects it. That which transferred your guardian abilities to Morgana. That's how she's maintained her position for so long, how she's manipulated Alpha Derek, how she's gotten away with murder. My vision blurs. Not from tears, I don't cry anymore, learned that lesson fast, but from rage. Pure, incandescent rage. Morgana didn't just torture me for fun. She mutilated my soul to steal my power. She made herself stronger by destroying me. Can it be reversed? The letters are almost illegible now, my hands shaking too hard to control properly. I don't know, Kale admits, and I can see how much that honesty costs him. Severing rituals are forbidden for exactly this reason, they cause irreparable damage. But Lunar Guardian magic is different from normal wolf magic. It's possible that with the right healers, the right spell work, we could at least restore your connection to your wolf. The bond between us might help. Mate bonds are powerful magic in their own right. The bond one can't feel. The bond that's supposed to make me whole but instead just highlights everything that's broken inside me. I write 3 words, I don't trust you. He doesn't flinch, doesn't look away. You shouldn't. You don't know me. For all you know, I'm playing some elaborate game where you're the pawn. I nod. Finally, someone who isn't lying to me. But I need you to understand something. He leans closer, voice dropping to something almost intimate. My beast recognized you the moment I saw you bleeding on that ground. Mate bonds are chosen by the moon goddess herself. she doesn't make mistakes. You were meant to be mine, and I was meant to be yours. The fact that you can't feel it doesn't change what you are to me. What am I to you? I write, hating how much I need to know the answer. Everything, he says simply. You're my mate, my equal, my future queen. You're the other half of my soul that I didn't know was missing until I found you broken and bleeding in a pack that should have protected you. I want to laugh. Want to tell him that broken things don't become queens, that you can't build a future on shattered pieces. But my throat still won't cooperate, so I just stare at him with my one good eye and let him see my disbelief. You think I'm delusional, he observes. I nod. Fair enough. He stands, creating distance between us that somehow feels like loss. But you're going to stay here while you heal. You're going to let my healers examine you and try to reverse what was done. And you're going to be protected by every resource I have, because mate bond or not, guardian or not, you're under my protection now. And if I want to leave? Then you'll leave. His jaw tightens. I won't force you to stay, Arya. I won't become another person who takes your choices away. But I will ask you to give me time to prove that not everyone in this world wants to hurt you. Before I can write a response, a knock sounds at the door. Your Majesty, a male voice calls. Urgent news. Kale's expression shuts down into something regal and remote. Enter. A man in guard uniform steps in, looking nervous. Alpha Derek and Luna Morgana have arrived, Your Majesty. They're not pleased about the summons. I imagine not. Kale's smile could cut glass. Have them brought to the throne room. And summon the royal court. I want witnesses for this. Yes, Your Majesty. The guard bows and leaves quickly, probably grateful to escape the cold radiating from his king. Kale turns back to me. Rest. Heal. And know that what's about to happen in that throne room is justice that's 3 years overdue. He starts to leave, then pauses at the door. Oh, and Arya? If you try to escape before you're fully healed, you won't make it past the second corridor. Not because I'll stop you, but because your body will give out. So please, that word again, rough and unpracticed, don't. Then he's gone, and I'm alone with my thoughts and my pain and the impossible revelation that everything I knew about myself was a lie. I'm not an Omega. I'm a lunar guardian, whatever that means. And the Alpha King claims I'm his mate, even though I can't feel the bond that's supposed to make that truth undeniable. I should rest like he ordered. Should let my body focus on healing instead of fighting. But instead, I pick up the pen again and write in my shaky handwriting. What if I'm too broken to fix? No one answers. The empty room keeps my secrets, and somewhere in the distant parts of the palace, a king prepares to pass judgment on the woman who destroyed me. I close my eye and try to find my wolf in the darkness of my mind, searching for any sign that she's still there, still alive, still capable of becoming whole. But there's only silence. The same silence that's haunted me for 3 years. And I realize with sick certainty that even if they can restore the connection, even if they can reverse the ritual, there might not be anything left to restore. Morgana might have destroyed my wolf so completely that no amount of magic can bring her back. Which means I'll spend the rest of my life as the Alpha King's mate who can't feel the bond, a lunar guardian who can't access her power, a broken thing pretending to be whole. The darkness pulls at me, exhaustion and pain combining to drag me under. My last conscious thought before sleep claims me is a question I'm afraid to ask out loud. What happens to broken mates in a world that demands perfection? No one answers that either. But somewhere in the deep places of my mind, in the vast emptiness where my wolf used to live, something stirs. Not my wolf. Something else. Something that's been waiting in the darkness for 3 years, biding its time, growing stronger while I grew weaker. And it whispers in a voice I don't recognize. Soon. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 3. The woman in my dreams has hair like moonlight. She stands in a forest I half remember, surrounded by trees that glow with silver light. Her face is familiar in a way that makes my chest ache, something about her eyes, the curve of her smile, the way she holds herself like she's never known fear. "Little star," she says, and I know that voice. I know it. "You must remember. The serpent wears a crown of gold." I try to speak, to ask what she means, but the dream shifts like smoke. Now I'm 7 years old, sitting in a garden while my mother, it's my mother, braids flowers into my hair. "Guardian magic isn't like pack magic," she's saying, her fingers gentle against my scalp. "We don't draw power from hierarchy or dominance. We draw it from the moon herself, from the balance between light and dark." "Do you understand, Arya?" "I think so," my child self says. "We're different. We're protectors." She kisses the top of my head. "And that makes us dangerous to those who profit from chaos." The dream fractures. I'm running through corridors, my small hands sticky with blood. Someone's screaming. My father, strong, gentle papa who taught me to track deer and read the stars, lies broken on marble floors while wolves in black uniforms stand over him. "Find the girl," one of them orders. "The king wants no witnesses." I'm hiding in the walls, so small I can fit in the servant passages, watching through cracks as they slaughter my family. My brother. My mother. Everyone I've ever loved. And standing in the doorway, watching it all with satisfaction, is. I wake gasping, my heart trying to claw out of my chest. The palace room is dark except for the fire burning low in the hearth. My face throbs with every heartbeat, reminding me that I'm not 7 anymore, not running, not hiding in walls. I'm 18 and scarred and broken in ways that have nothing to do with acid burns. But the dreams are getting clearer. Every night since I woke in this palace, the memories come back in pieces, fragments of a life before Silvercrest, before slavery, before I learned what it meant to be nothing. "You're awake." I nearly jump out of my skin. A woman stands by the window, so still I didn't notice her in the shadows. She's tall and lean, with dark skin and close-cropped hair, wearing black combat gear that marks her as palace guard. Elite guard, based on the silver wolf insignia on her shoulder. "Sorry," she says, not sounding particularly sorry. "Didn't mean to startle you. I'm Raven, head of the king's personal security. He assigned me to your protection detail." I stare at her, trying to read her intentions in the darkness. Protection detail sounds nice. So did sanctuary, once upon a time, before I learned that pretty words don't mean much when you're powerless. Raven must sense my skepticism because she moves closer, hands visible and empty. "Look, I know you don't trust anyone here. I wouldn't either, in your position. But His Majesty gave me a direct order: keep you alive, keep you safe, and report anyone who tries to harm you." I take my orders seriously. I point to my throat, shaking my head. Still can't speak. Healer Marin says my vocal cords need more time to heal from the screaming. "Right. The notebook." Raven retrieves it from the bedside table and hands it to me along with the pen. "His Majesty mentioned you'd need this." His Majesty. She says it with genuine respect, not the fear-laced obedience I heard in Silvercrest. Like she serves kale by choice rather than compulsion. I write, "How long have you been standing there?" "About an hour." "You were having nightmares, thrashing around, whimpering. I almost woke you, but Healer Marin says the dreams might be memories trying to resurface. Best to let them play out." "What time is it?" "Just past midnight." His Majesty is still in court proceedings with Alpha Derek and Luna Morgana. It's not going well for them. Something dark and vindictive in my chest purrs at that. Good. Let them suffer. Let them know what it feels like to be powerless while someone else holds all the cards. What's happening to them? Raven's expression goes grim. Public trial. His Majesty is laying out every crime they committed against you, the enslavement, the abuse, the severing ritual. Half the kingdom's nobility is in that throne room watching Alpha Derek try to justify why he allowed his mate to torture a child for 3 years. Will they die? The king hasn't decided yet. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. Death would be merciful. His Majesty doesn't feel particularly merciful where you're concerned. The way she says it makes me wonder exactly what Kale's been doing for the past several hours. What kind of justice does an Alpha King dispense when his mate, even a mate who can't feel the bond, has been tortured? I'm writing another question when footsteps echo in the hallway outside. Multiple sets, moving fast. Raven's hand goes to the blade at her hip, her entire body shifting into combat readiness. Stay behind me, she orders quietly. The door opens without a knock, rude by any standard, aggressive by palace standards. A woman sweeps in like she owns the place, trailed by 2 guards who look uncomfortable about being here. She's beautiful in a cold, precise way. Blonde hair perfectly styled, ice blue eyes, a gown that probably costs more than most people earn in a year. There's something about her bone structure that reminds me of Kale, the same aristocratic angles, the same inherent authority. So this is the Omega, she says, looking me up and down like I'm a stain on her expensive carpet. I expected more. Raven doesn't move from her protective position. Princess Celine. His Majesty gave orders that Lady Arya wasn't to be disturbed. Princess. This is Kale's sister. I'm sure my brother has given many orders regarding his new pet. Celine's smile could freeze blood. But as his sister and advisor, I have a responsibility to assess potential threats to the kingdom. Threats? Raven's voice goes dangerously soft. You think a recovering Omega poses a threat to the Shadow Kingdom? I think a broken wolf who conveniently appeared in my brother's territory, who conveniently triggered his mate instinct, who conveniently happens to be from an extinct bloodline that could challenge his rule. Yes, I think that poses a threat. Celine moves closer, and I can smell expensive perfume trying to mask something underneath. Something that smells like fear? Where were you for the last 3 years, Omega? How do we know you weren't planted at Silvercrest specifically to entrap the king? The accusation is so absurd I almost laugh. Almost. But I'm too tired and in too much pain to find humor in being accused of orchestrating my own torture. I write quickly, you think I burned off half my face as part of an elaborate scheme? Celine reads it and her expression doesn't change. Sacrifices must be made for power. I've seen people do worse for less. That's enough, Raven says flatly. Lady Arya has been through hell. She doesn't need conspiracy theories from the kingdom's heir? Celine cuts her off. Oh yes, let's discuss that. My brother has refused to take a mate for 10 years. 10 years of the council pressuring him to produce an heir, to secure the bloodline, to strengthen alliances through marriage. And now he finds his mate, she says the word like it's poisonous, and she's a powerless Omega who can't even feel the bond? How convenient. I want to shrink back, to disappear like I learned to do in Silvercrest. But something in me, maybe the guardian blood Kale claims I have, maybe just pure spite, refuses to cower. I write, what do you want? I want to know your game. I want to know who sent you and what you really want from my brother. I want to survive. That's it. I didn't ask for any of this. No one ever asks for power, Celine says coldly. But that doesn't stop them from taking it when offered. My brother is the most powerful alpha in all the territories. Mating him would make you queen. Are you really expecting me to believe you don't want that? I don't even know what I am anymore. How could I possibly scheme for power? Something flickers in Celine's expression, too fast to read, gone before I can interpret it. Maybe you're telling the truth. Maybe you're just a broken Omega who got lucky. Either way, you're a liability. The council will never accept you as Luna. They'll tear my brother apart before they let him mate someone so damaged. The word hits like a physical blow. Damaged. Like I'm a broken toy, something to be discarded. Raven moves then, stepping fully between us. Princess or not, you need to leave. Now. For a moment, I think Celine will push it. Her guards shift nervously, clearly uncomfortable with the tension between the head of the king's security and the kingdom's heir. Then footsteps echo down the hall again, heavier this time, purposeful. The temperature drops several degrees, and every guard in the room suddenly stands straighter. Kale appears in the doorway like a storm manifesting in human form. His silver eyes sweep the room, taking in everything, his sister standing too close to my bed, Raven in protective stance, me clutching my notebook like a shield. "Celine," he says quietly. "What are you doing here?" "Visiting your mate," she replies smoothly, but I can see the calculation behind her eyes. "Making sure she's settling in well." "At midnight." "Without permission." "Against my direct orders." Each sentence drops like a stone into still water. "Try again." Celine's mask slips just slightly. "I have concerns about this situation." "The council has concerns." "You can't expect." "The council," Kale interrupts, his voice dropping to something that makes the guards flinch, "doesn't choose my mate. The moon goddess does. And unless you've developed the ability to question divine will, I suggest you take your concerns elsewhere." "Brother, please. Be reasonable. She can't even feel the bond. How can she be your true mate if?" "Out." The word isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It carries power that makes my bones vibrate, makes my remaining wolf instinct scream submission. Even broken as I am, I can feel the weight of his authority pressing down like atmospheric pressure before a storm. Celine goes pale. Her guards actually back toward the door. For a moment, she looks like she might argue, might push back against her brother's command. Then she straightens her spine, nods once with icy dignity, and leaves without another word. Her guards scramble after her. The silence after they're gone is deafening. Kale stands in the doorway, shoulders tight with tension, breathing carefully controlled. He's changed since this morning. The formal court clothes are gone, replaced by simple black pants and a shirt that doesn't quite hide the predator underneath. "I apologize," he says finally, not looking at me. "My sister is protective. She doesn't trust easily." "I write, she thinks I'm trying to trap you. She thinks everyone is trying to trap me. It's her job as my advisor to be paranoid." He finally meets my eyes. "That doesn't excuse her cornering you in the middle of the night." "What happened with Derek and Morgana?" His expression goes dark. "Derek is stripped of his alpha title, his pack dissolved and absorbed into neighboring territories. He'll spend the rest of his life as a rogue, powerless and alone, fitting punishment for a man who stood by while his mate committed atrocities." "And Morgana?" "Imprisoned. Awaiting trial for crimes against a lunar guardian, conspiracy to commit murder, illegal dark magic use, and theft of sacred powers." He pauses. "I'd kill her tonight if I could. But she has information we need. I'm asking you to trust that I won't hurt you while simultaneously telling you there's a conspiracy involving people I trust. That's not fair to you." "Nothing about this is fair." "No," he agrees. "It's not." He starts to leave, then stops. "Arya? The dreams you're having, the memories coming back. Write them down. Every detail you can remember. Names, faces, conversations. Something in those memories might tell us who betrayed your family, or it could be the truth. The serpent wears a crown of gold." I'm still staring at my notes when a wave of nausea hits me so suddenly I barely have time to grab the basin beside the bed. I retch violently, my abused throat screaming in protest, but nothing comes up except bile. Raven is beside me instantly, supporting my weight, her expression concerned. "I'm calling for a healer." I try to wave her off, but another wave hits. This time, I do vomit, thin and watery and tinged with something dark that might be blood. "Now," Raven says firmly, already moving toward the door. "Stay there, don't move." She's gone before I can protest, leaving me alone with my churning stomach and racing thoughts. This isn't normal. I know what my body feels like when it's trying to die. This is different, not the burning of infection or the weakness of starvation. This is something else. Something new. I press my hand to my lower abdomen and freeze. There's warmth there. A pulse of something that isn't quite pain, isn't quite power, but feels alive in a way that makes no sense. My wolf is broken, severed, gone. I shouldn't be able to feel anything supernatural at all. But I do. And with sudden, horrifying clarity, I understand what it means. No. No, that's impossible. I scramble for the notebook again, my hands shaking so hard I can barely form letters. Get healer Marin. Now. When Raven returns minutes later with the healer in tow, Marin takes one look at me, at my expression, at the notebook clutched in my hands, and her eyes widen. Everyone out, she orders, her voice brooking no argument. Raven, get the king. Tell him it's urgent. What's wrong? Raven demands. Is she dying? Out. Marin's power, not physical but undeniable, pushes the guard toward the door. This is beyond your security clearance. Go. Now. Raven leaves, looking back at me with something like fear. Marin approaches slowly, her hands already glowing with diagnostic magic. Tell me your symptoms. All of them. I write quickly: nausea. Vomiting. Strange warmth in my abdomen. Sensitivity to smells. Exhaustion beyond what the healing should cause. She reads it, and all color drains from her face. Moon goddess preserve us. When was your last cycle? I think back. Between the starvation and stress at Silvercrest, my cycles were never regular. But the last one I remember was before the acid attack. 5, maybe 6 weeks. And you've been in close proximity to the king since then. In his territory, surrounded by his scent, exposed to the mate bond even if you can't feel it. Marin's hands hover over my stomach, magic probing deeper. Oh, child. This shouldn't be possible. What shouldn't be possible? But I already know. I can feel the truth of it settling into my bones like ice. Marin meets my eyes, and I can see the wonder and terror warring in her expression. You're pregnant. About 4 weeks along, maybe 5. Which should be impossible, you need an active wolf bond to conceive. The fact that you're carrying means. My wolf isn't dead, I write, the letters huge and shaky across the page. She's just imprisoned. Yes. Marin's voice drops to barely a whisper. And pregnancy is going to wake her up. Whatever bindings Morgana placed on your wolf, whatever magic severed your connection, it can't hold against the primal instinct to protect a child. Your wolf is going to fight those bonds with everything she has. Is that good? I don't know. Marin pulls her hands back, looking shaken. It could restore your abilities. Or it could kill you if the bindings don't break cleanly. We're in uncharted territory here. The door slams open. Kale strides in, his expression carved from granite, power rolling off him in waves that make the air thick. What's happened? Raven said. He stops. His nostrils flare, scenting the air. And I watch his entire body go rigid as realization hits. No, he breathes. That's not possible. Tell that to the child growing in her womb, Marin says bluntly. Congratulations, Your Majesty. You're going to be a father. The silence that follows is absolute. Kale stares at me like I've grown a second head, his mind clearly racing through the same impossibilities I just processed. Pregnant without a bond. Carrying the child of a mate I can't even feel. Harboring a life that should not exist. This changes everything, he finally says, his voice hollow. If her wolf wakes to protect the child. Then we'll find out whether the severing ritual can be broken, Marin finishes. And whether there's anything left of Aria's wolf to save. I close my eyes, one hand pressed to my abdomen where something impossible is growing. A child. A pup. A life that shouldn't exist but does. And inside me, in the darkness where my wolf should live, something ancient and furious stirs. Not yet, it whispers in a voice I don't recognize. But soon. Very soon, little star. The serpent will pay for what she stole. And when I wake, the whole world will burn. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4. The council chamber erupts like a nest of hornets kicked by a foolish child. Abomination. This proves she's using dark magic. The king has been deceived. Execute her before the child. Silence. Kale's command doesn't shatter the noise so much as vacuum it away, leaving a void that makes my ears ring. He stands at the head of the obsidian table, every inch the Alpha King, but I can see the tension in his shoulders, the barely controlled rage in the set of his jaw. I sit at his right hand, a position that's caused half the nobles in this room to nearly choke on their own outrage, with Raven standing guard behind me and Healer Marin beside her. My hand rests protectively over my still flat abdomen, where something impossible continues to grow. For days since the pregnancy was confirmed. For days of increasingly hostile council meetings where nobles debate my fate like I'm not sitting right here, listening to them discuss my execution with the detached interest of people planning a menu. The question before us, says Lord Brennan, a silver-haired wolf who serves as master of laws, is whether this pregnancy is natural or the result of dark magic. Conception without a recognized mate bond is unprecedented. Kale cuts him off. Not impossible. Lunar guardians existed outside traditional pack hierarchy. Their reproductive biology may function differently. Or, Lady Ravenna interjects, her voice dripping with false sweetness, this Omega has somehow tricked your Majesty's body into believing she's his mate when she's nothing but a... The words die in her throat as Kale's eyes flash pure silver. The temperature drops so fast that frost crawls across the table between them. Choose your next words very carefully, Lady Ravenna, he says softly. Because if you insult my mate again, your family will need a new representative on this council. My mate. He keeps saying it like repetition will make it true, like claiming me publicly will somehow bridge the gap where the bond should be. I wish I could feel what he feels. Wish the moon goddess hadn't played this cruel joke of giving me a mate I can't recognize, can't sense, can't properly appreciate. But all I feel is tired. So tired. Your Majesty, says a voice from the far end of the table. Beta Marcus, Kale's second-in-command, stands with careful neutrality in his expression. Perhaps we should focus on more practical concerns. If Lady Arya is pregnant with your heir, regardless of the mechanism, we need to ensure her safety. The kingdom needs a legitimate heir, someone mutters. Not a bastard whelped by a broken Omega who can't even. I don't see Kale move. One moment he's at the head of the table. The next, he has the speaker, some minor lord whose name I don't know, pinned against the wall by his throat, feet dangling off the ground. Say it again, Kale invites, his voice gone beyond cold into something inhuman. Please. Give me an excuse. Brother. Princess Selene rises from her seat, her movements graceful and controlled. She's been silent for most of this meeting, which is somehow more unsettling than her usual sharp commentary. Perhaps we should adjourn. Tempers are running high, and violence against council members, even justified violence, won't help our position. Kale holds the Lord suspended for another heartbeat before dropping him. The man crumples, gasping, and has enough survival instinct to stay down. Adjourned, Kale says flatly. We reconvene tomorrow. And anyone who speaks of execution or illegitimacy again will find themselves expelled from court permanently. The nobles file out quickly, most avoiding eye contact with either Kale or me. Only Selene lingers, her ice-blue eyes fixed on me with an expression I can't quite read. May I speak with you both privately? She asks. It's important. Kale's jaw tightens, but he nods. My study. 10 minutes. Selene leaves without another word, and suddenly it's just Kale and me and the guards who've been standing silent witness to my character assassination. "I'm sorry," Kale says, not looking at me. "You shouldn't have to endure this." I pull out the notebook I now carry everywhere. My voice still hasn't returned, and Marin says it might never fully heal. I write, "They're right to question it." I question it too. Don't. He finally meets my eyes, and the intensity there nearly stops my breath. Don't give them that power. You are my mate. You're carrying my child. Those are facts, regardless of what bond you can or cannot feel. How do you know? How can you be so sure when I feel nothing? The question I've been afraid to ask. The one that keeps me awake at night, staring at the ceiling while my hand rests on my stomach, and I wonder if this child will love me when I can't even properly love their father. Kale is quiet for a long moment. Then, because I performed a blood ritual. The night after you arrived, when you were unconscious and dying from infection. I couldn't stand there and watch you fade, couldn't accept that the moon goddess would show me my mate only to take her away before we'd spoken a single word. I stare at him, pen frozen above paper. "It's forbidden magic," he continues, his voice low. "Ancient and dangerous. I bound my life force to yours, shared my strength, my healing, my wolf's power to ensure you'd survive. It's not the same as a mate bond, but it created a connection between us. A supernatural link that might explain why you conceived despite your severed wolf. That's treason," I write, my hands shaking. "If the council finds out, they'll remove me from the throne, yes. Possibly execute me for practicing forbidden magic." He says it calmly, like he's discussing the weather. "But you lived. You're here, carrying our child, and I'd burn the whole kingdom down before I regret saving you." The words should comfort me. Instead, they terrify me. He risked everything, his throne, his life, his kingdom, for someone he doesn't even know. For a broken Omega who might never be whole. Why? Because you're mine. Simple. Final. And I protect what's mine. Before I can write a response, pain explodes behind my eyes. Not physical pain, something else, something that feels like lightning trying to crawl out through my skull. The notebook falls from my hands as I gasp, doubling over. "Arya." Kale's hands are on my shoulders, steadying me. What's wrong? I can't answer. Can't think past the pressure building in my head, in my chest, spreading through my limbs like liquid fire. This isn't infection or illness or any normal ailment. This is power. Her magic is manifesting, Marin says urgently, suddenly beside me with her hands glowing diagnostic gold. The pregnancy is accelerating the process. Her wolf is trying to break through the bindings to protect the child. Can you stop it? Kale demands. I don't think we should. If we suppress it now, the backlash could kill her and the baby both. She needs to release it, let it flow through. The world explodes into silver light. I'm not in my body anymore. I'm everywhere and nowhere, seeing through eyes that aren't mine, feeling connections I've never noticed before stretching out like spider silk through the entire palace. Every wolf in this building is suddenly visible to me as pulses of light, some bright and clean, others shadowed, twisted. And there, standing just outside the study door, is Princess Celine. Her wolf light is wrong. Corrupted. Dark magic writhes through her like parasitic vines, choking something that should be pure and strong. The same magic I felt when Morgana's witch severed my bond. The same magic that destroyed my family. No, I hear myself whisper. My voice, returned in this moment of crisis, raw and cracked but undeniably mine. No, not her. The vision releases me so suddenly I collapse. Kale catches me, lowering me into a chair while Marin fusses with checking my vital signs. But I'm not focused on them. I'm staring at the door, waiting for the serpent to enter wearing her crown of gold. When Celine walks in moments later, I watch her with new eyes. She moves carefully, gracefully, but there's tension in every line of her body. Fear, poorly masked. Thank you for seeing me, she begins. I have information about. You're marked, I interrupt, my voice barely above a whisper but audible enough. Dark magic. The same kind used to sever my bond. The room goes deadly silent. Celine's face drains of color. Kale moves faster than thought, putting himself between us, his power slamming down like a physical weight. Explain, he orders his sister. Now. She stops, swallows hard. When she speaks again, her voice shakes. I was going to tell you. That's why I'm here. But you have to understand, I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice, Kale says coldly. Not when someone threatens your children. Celine's composure cracks completely. Not when they show you exactly how they'll kill your babies if you don't cooperate. The revelation hits like a physical blow. Celine has 2 young pups, twin boys, 6 years old. I've never met them, but I've heard the servants talk about them with fondness. Who? Kale's voice could shatter steel. Who threatened my nephews? Morgana approached me 3 years ago. Said she knew I'd been investigating irregularities in the border territories, getting too close to discovering something I shouldn't. She showed me. Celine's breath hitches. She showed me my son's nursery. Showed me how easily someone could slip poison into their milk, smother them in their sleep, make it look like accident or illness. And you helped her? Kale's betrayal rings through every word. I tried to refuse. I went to father's old advisors, tried to find protection, tried everything I could think of. But she always knew. Always found out. And then she brought the witch, and the witch performed a ritual that bound me. If I told anyone, if I warned you, if I tried to stop what was happening, the curse would activate and my children would die screaming. She's crying now, tears streaming down her perfect face. So I gave her information. Told her when you'd be traveling, what territories you'd be inspecting. I didn't know she'd use it to hurt that girl. I swear I didn't know about the Blackwood family until it was too late. My family. She's talking about my family. You knew, I rasp, my new voice raw with accusation. You knew and you did nothing. I couldn't. The binding wouldn't let me. Celine turns to me, desperate. I tried to find loopholes, tried to help in ways that wouldn't trigger the curse. I'm the one who convinced father to let your mother send you away the night of the massacre, told him it would be better to let one escape as a message. That's why you survived when the rest of your family died. The words punched through me like bullets. She saved my life while helping orchestrate my family's murder. I don't know whether to thank her or kill her. Who? Kale asks again. Who is Morgana working for? Who has power over both of you? Your uncle, Celine whispers. Lord Aldrich. He's alive. The temperature drops so fast I can see my breath. Kale goes absolutely rigid, his expression transforming into something terrifying. Aldrich died 20 years ago. We buried him. You buried a body that looked like him. But it wasn't him. Celine is shaking now, the words spilling out like confession. He's been building a rival pack in the Shadowlands, gathering wolves who feel you're too young, too soft, too influenced by modern ideals. He wants the throne. And he knew the Lunar Guardian bloodline would eventually produce your true mate, someone powerful enough to help you maintain control, to give you heirs with unprecedented abilities. So he hunted them to extinction, I finish, understanding crystallizing with horrifying clarity. My family wasn't killed because they were traitors. They were killed because we were my mate's potential power source. Yes. Celine meets my eyes. And Morgana wasn't just trying to break you for fun. She was following Aldrich's orders, weaken the Guardian, destroy her wolf, ensure that when you finally found her, she'd be too damaged to be useful. He wanted you to reject her, to dismiss her as broken so he could take her for himself, Kale finishes, his voice gone beyond cold into absolute zero. Use her Guardian abilities to make himself unkillable. That's what this has been about. Not just my throne. Immortality. The acid, Marin says suddenly. The wolfsbane acid Morgana used. I've been analyzing samples from Arya's wounds, and there's something strange about the composition. It's not just for scarring, there's a compound I've never seen before woven into the mixture. She pulls a vial from her pocket, holding it up to the light. Dark liquid swirls inside, shot through with threads of something that glows faintly silver. This is a tracking poison. Ancient magic that bonds to the victim's blood and broadcasts their location to whoever holds the activation key. Morgana didn't just scar you, Arya. She marked you. Aldrich has known exactly where you are since the moment that acid touched your skin. Horror washes through me in waves. Every moment I've spent in this palace, I've been a beacon, leading Aldrich straight to his target. He's been waiting, I whisper. Waiting for me to reach the palace where his artifact is. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike. What artifact? Kale demands. Celine's face is ashen. The soul render. Father kept it locked in the deepest vault, said it was too dangerous to ever use. It can extract the essence of any supernatural being and transfer it to another. Aldrich's been planning this for decades. Find the last guardian, track her to the palace, use the soul render to steal her power and become immortal. And I brought her straight to him, Kale says, each word carved from ice. Led her directly into the trap. You couldn't have known, Raven protests from her guard position. None of us knew Aldrich was alive. But he knew. Kale's hands clench into fists. He's been orchestrating this entire game, moving us like pieces on a board, waiting for the perfect moment to take everything. An alarm sounds, loud and discordant, the palace's warning system activating. Raven's hand goes to her weapon as shouts echo from the corridors outside. We're under attack, she says grimly. The Shadowlands pack. They're breaching the walls. It's time, Celine whispers. He's making his move. Kale's eyes meet mine, and I see the calculation there, the terrible choice forming. His kingdom or his mate. His throne or my life. The good of thousands against the love of one. Get her out, he orders Raven. Secret passage to the eastern border. Take Marcus and Marin. Get Arya as far from here as possible. No. The word tears from my throat, loud and clear despite the damage. I'm not running. Arya. I'm done running. My voice cracks but holds. My whole life, I've run. Ran the night my family died. Ran from Morgana's punishments when I could. Ran from everything painful and terrible and hard. And where did it get me? Broken. Scarred. Powerless while people I love die protecting me. You're pregnant, Kale says desperately. Our child will grow up in a world where their father abandoned their mother to save his throne. Or in a world where their uncle stole their mother's soul to become a god. I stand, my legs shaky but holding. I choose neither. I choose to fight. You can't access your power, Marin protests. Your wolf is still bound. Then unbind her. I turn to the healer, to Celine, to anyone who might have answers. Break the severing ritual. Do whatever it takes. Because I'm not leaving this palace while Aldrich thinks he can take what's mine. The ritual can't be broken without the original caster, Celine says. We'd need the witch who performed it, and she disappeared the same night. She's here. The words come from the doorway, where Morgana stands flanked by guards. She looks terrible, gaunt and hollow-eyed from days in the dungeon, but her smile is sharp as broken glass. The witch is here. And she's been waiting for you to ask nicely, little guardian. Kale moves to attack, but Morgana holds up her shackled hands. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to make a deal. Aldrich has my daughter, my real daughter, not the public facade. He's had her for 3 years as insurance of my cooperation. You break me out, help me rescue her, and I'll have the witch reverse what she did. You tortured me, I say flatly. For 3 years. Why would I help you? Because Aldrich is coming for you tonight, and you need your wolf to survive. Because that baby you're carrying is going to die if your body can't handle the awakening power. And because, her voice drops to something almost human, I'm a mother too. And I understand what you do to protect your child. The explosions are getting closer. The palace shakes with each impact, dust raining from the ceiling. Through the windows, I can see fires spreading through the outer courtyards. The soul render, I say. Where is it? The vault beneath the throne room, Celine answers. But it's warded, only someone with royal blood can open it. So Aldrich needs someone inside the palace to get it for him. Someone with access. I look at the assembled faces, seeing the truth in their expressions. Someone he's been controlling all along. Beta Marcus steps forward, and his apologetic smile confirms my worst suspicion. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, he says to Kale. But family comes first. Always. He moves before anyone can react, pulling something from his pocket, a crystal that pulses with sickly green light. The wards throughout the palace shatter like glass, and through the windows, I see them coming. An army of wolves pouring through breached walls, and at their head, a figure wreathed in shadows wearing a crown that gleams like gold in the firelight. Lord Aldrich has come to claim his prize. Chapter 5. The blood moon rises like a wound in the sky. I've seen it before, every wolf has. It comes once a decade, turning the moon the color of fresh spilled blood and amplifying supernatural power to dangerous levels. During a blood moon, rituals that would normally fail succeed spectacularly. Magic that would take months of preparation can be accomplished in minutes. And apparently, soul render artifacts that can steal a guardian's essence become fully operational. Perfect timing. Just perfect. This way, Morgana hisses, dragging me through corridors I don't recognize. The witch walks ahead of us, a small woman with dead eyes and hands that smell like grave dirt. She hasn't spoken since Morgana released her from whatever hidden cell she'd been kept in. Behind us, the sounds of battle rage through the palace. Kale's forces fighting Aldrich's army. Wolves dying. The kingdom tearing itself apart. And I'm being led like a lamb to slaughter, because this is the plan. The terrible, desperate plan we cobbled together in the 5 minutes before everything went to hell. Let Morgana take me. Let Aldrich think he's won. Get close enough to the soul render that we can destroy it from the inside. Simple. Suicidal. Our only option. You're trembling, Morgana observes. Not unkindly, which is somehow worse than her usual cruelty. Afraid? I would write a response, but my hands are bound. So I just nod. Good. You should be. What's about to happen? She stops herself, jaw tightening. Just remember our deal. You help me get my daughter out, I help you get your wolf back. After that, we're even. Even. As if 3 years of torture can be balanced by one act of cooperation. As if the scars on my face and the nightmares that still wake me screaming can be erased by a transaction. But I need her. Need the witch. Need my wolf back before Aldrich starts carving into me with his ritual blade. So I nod again, and we keep moving deeper into the palace's bowels. The vault beneath the throne room is exactly as terrifying as I imagined. Ancient stone carved with runes that hurt to look at directly. The air thick with power that tastes like copper and ash. And in the center, on an altar that looks suspiciously like a sacrificial table, sits an object wrapped in black cloth. The soul render. Even covered, I can feel it. Hungry. Waiting. Ready to tear my essence from my body and feed it to whoever's willing to pay the price. Ah, there she is. The voice comes from the shadows, cultured and cold. The last lunar guardian. So much smaller than I expected. Lord Aldrich steps into the candlelight, and I understand immediately why he was able to convince so many wolves to follow him. He looks like Kale, same aristocratic features, same inherent authority, but older, refined, with silver threading through dark hair and eyes that have seen centuries of manipulation and survived. He's wearing that ring. The wolf head with golden eyes that I saw in my memories, watching my family burn. Uncle. I forced the word out despite my damaged throat. I'd say it's nice to meet you, but we both know that would be a lie. His smile is charming and empty. Spirit. Good. I was worried Morgana had broken you too thoroughly. A guardian needs spirit to be useful. The magic flows better through those who still have fight in them. About that. Morgana steps forward, and something in her posture has changed. Gone is the nervous woman bargaining for her daughter's life. This is someone else, someone harder, colder. We need to discuss terms before we proceed. Terms? Aldrich's voice drops dangerously. You don't dictate terms, Morgana. You follow orders, or your daughter continues to suffer. My daughter is dead. The words fall like stones. You killed her 6 months ago when she tried to escape. I know because I found her body buried in the East Gardens, wrapped in your personal cloak. Oh. Oh no. I needed insurance of your cooperation, Aldrich says without remorse. A living daughter was useful. Once she stopped being useful, well. You made a mistake. Morgana's hands begin to glow with dark magic. You let me think she was still alive. Let me hope. Hope makes people do stupid, desperate things. But grief? Her smile could cut diamonds. Grief makes people burn the world down. She moves faster than I can track, magic lashing out like whips. But Aldrich was expecting this. He's already shifting, his wolf erupting from human skin in a spray of power that makes the candles gutter. He's massive. Larger than any alpha I've ever seen, his fur the color of smoke and ash, eyes glowing with stolen magic from dozens of rituals like the one he's planning for me. Foolish girl, his wolf snarls in that inhuman voice all shifted wolves have. Did you really think you could betray me and survive? No, Morgana says calmly. Then she looks at me. But I thought I could give her a chance. Which, now? The small woman lunges forward, her hands glowing with magic that smells like ozone and copper. She grabs my face, fingers pressing into temples, and pulls. Pain. God, the pain. It's like the severing ritual in reverse, hooks digging into my soul, yanking at bindings I've carried for 3 years. I scream, the sound tearing from my ruined throat, as something inside me begins to crack. Not break. Not shatter. Crack. Like an egg. Like a prison cell. Like something that was always meant to open from the inside. My wolf howls. Not the broken whisper I'm used to. Not the confused stirring that pregnancy brought. This is a full-throated roar of rage and recognition and power that makes the stones beneath my feet vibrate. Mate, she screams into my mind, her voice crystalline and furious. Mate, mate, mate. The bond slams into place with the force of a meteor strike. Everything I couldn't feel before crashes through me in one devastating wave. The connection to Kale that's always been there, just hidden behind walls of trauma and severed magic. The pull of his soul to mine, his wolf to my wolf, his breath matching my breath across the distance separating us. And his terror. His absolute panic as he fights through Aldrich's forces, feeling through our newly formed bond that I'm in danger, that our child is in danger, that he's not going to reach me in time. I'm here, I send back through the bond, testing this new ability. I'm alive. Come find me. His response is pure primal fury, coming. But Aldrich doesn't give me time to appreciate my restored wolf. He's already on Morgana, his massive jaws closing around her throat, shaking her like a rag doll. She fights back with magic, but he's stronger, faster, powered by decades of stolen essence. He kills her in seconds. Then he turns to me, blood dripping from his muzzle, and his expression is pure satisfaction. Even better, he says. Your wolf awake means more power to steal. And now that you've lost your only ally, there's no one to stop the ritual. He's wrong about that. Because I'm not the same Omega who arrived at this palace broken and beaten. I'm not even the same woman who walked into this vault 10 minutes ago. I'm a lunar guardian with her wolf restored, carrying the child of an alpha king, fueled by 3 years of rage that's finally found its target. You want my power? I ask, and my voice comes out clear and strong, healed by the wolf magic flooding through my system. Come take it. I shift. I've never shifted before. Morgana broke my wolf before I reached maturity, before I learned how. But my wolf knows. She's always known. And when she finally breaks free of my human skin, it's not a transformation. It's an eruption. Silver-white fur that glows like moonlight. A body large enough to rival Kale's king wolf, maybe larger. Eyes that reflect the blood moon's crimson light and transform it into something pure and terrible and divine. This is what I was always meant to be. What Aldrich feared enough to hunt my entire bloodline to extinction. The last lunar guardian in her true form. Aldrich's confidence wavers. Just for a moment, but I see it, the flicker of fear in his stolen magic eyes. Impossible, he breathes. You're too damaged. The severing ritual should have. I don't let him finish. I launch myself at him, claws extended, jaws wide, and every ounce of pent-up rage powering my strike. We collide like thunder. His superior experience versus my raw fury. His stolen power versus my birthright. We tear into each other with teeth and claws, blood spattering ancient stone, two supernatural forces trying to rip each other apart in a vault that wasn't meant to contain this level of violence. He's strong. Goddess, he's strong. Each blow lands like a hammer, driving me back, making my wolf yelp with pain. But I don't stop. Can't stop. Because if I stop, he wins. He takes my power, kills my child, destroys my mate. And I'm so fucking done being a victim. I catch his throat in my jaws and bite, tasting blood and dark magic and centuries of corruption. He screams, actually screams, and throws me off with a surge of power that sends me crashing into the wall. The impact would have killed my human form. But my wolf form is tougher, stronger, made to endure. Made to fight gods if necessary. I scramble back to my feet just as the vault door explodes inward. Kale storms through in his king wolf form, massive and black and radiating power that makes the air itself bow. His silver eyes find me, bloody and defiant, and the relief that floods through our bond nearly buckles my legs. Mate, his wolf rumbles through the connection. Safe. Alive. Behind you. I scream back. Beta Marcus lunges from the shadows, blade gleaming with poison, aimed directly at Kale's exposed back. Traitor to the end, trying to give his true master the advantage. Kale spins faster than Marcus can react, catching the blade in his jaws and crushing it to powder. Then his massive paw comes down on the Beta's skull with a crack that echoes through the vault. Marcus dies instantly. Painlessly. More mercy than he deserved. And then it's just us and Aldrich, who's backing toward the altar, toward the soul render, bleeding from a dozen wounds but still smiling that terrible smile. You think you've won? He laughs, the sound jagged. You think stopping me stops this? I've been preparing for centuries. I have contingencies, backup plans, allies you don't even know exist. Kill me and 10 more will rise to take my place. Then we'll kill them too, I say simply. His hand closes around the soul render's cloth covering. Not if I take your power first. Not if I become unkillable. He yanks the cloth away. The artifact beneath is beautiful and terrible, a crystal shaped like a human heart, pulsing with light that shifts through every color and none. Just looking at it makes my wolf whimper, makes my guardian instinct scream to run, to get as far from this abomination as possible. But I don't run. I step forward, placing myself between the soul render and Kale, and I feel our mate bond thrumming with shared purpose. You're right, I tell Aldrich. You've prepared for centuries. You've stolen power from dozens of wolves, made yourself nearly immortal through dark magic and ritual sacrifice. Glad you understand, he says, already beginning the activation chant. But you made one critical mistake. I bare my teeth in something that's not quite a smile. You assumed stolen power is the same as earned power. That taking what doesn't belong to you makes you strong. The soul render begins to glow brighter, reaching for me with invisible hooks that try to latch onto my essence. It doesn't, I continue, my voice ringing with guardian authority I'm only just learning to wield. Stolen power corrupts. Weakens. Leaves you vulnerable to anyone strong enough to take it back. I shift back to human form, risky, dangerous, but necessary for what comes next. Kale shifts beside me, his hand finding mine, our bond blazing with combined strength. So go ahead, I say softly. Try to steal from us. Try to take what the moon goddess herself has blessed. See what happens when you bite off more than you can swallow. Aldrich's chant reaches its crescendo. The soul render pulses, and I feel hooks, metaphysical, agonizing, sink into my essence, trying to pull, to extract, to rip away everything I am. But they don't find just me. They find Kale. They find our bond. They find the child growing in my womb, already touched by guardian magic and Alpha King blood and the moon goddess's own blessing. They find power that was never meant to be stolen. Aldrich screams as the backlash hits him. The soul render, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of essence it's trying to process, begins to crack. Light spills from the fractures, pure, white, burning. What have you done? Aldrich gasps, his form flickering between wolf and human as the stolen magic inside him destabilizes. What? Gave you exactly what you wanted, Kale says coldly. Power beyond measure. More than your body can possibly contain. The soul render shatters. The explosion of power that follows is cataclysmic. I feel Kale throw himself over me, shielding my body with his as wave after wave of raw magic tears through the vault. Stone cracks. Runes burn away to nothing. The candles explode into towers of flame. And Aldrich burns. Not with fire. With light. Pure, holy, divine light that consumes stolen magic like fuel. He writhes and screams as centuries of accumulated power turns on him, purging corruption from his body, from his soul, from his very essence. Please, he begs, his form disintegrating. Please, I didn't, I never meant. Yes, you did, I say, watching without pity as the wolf who slaughtered my family finally pays for his crimes. You meant every death. Every drop of blood. Every life you destroyed in pursuit of power. Mercy, he whispers as the light consumes his face. Moon goddess, mercy. She's fresh out, Kale says flatly. Then Aldrich is gone. Just ash and echoes and the memory of evil that thought itself invincible. The silence after is deafening. Kale and I kneel among the rubble, both of us bleeding, both exhausted beyond measure. But we're alive. Our child is alive. And the soul render, that abomination, is destroyed forever. Is it over? I ask, my voice hoarse. For now. Kale pulls me close, his arms gentle despite their strength. The army will surrender once they realize Aldrich is dead. Marcus's betrayal died with him. And Morgana. He looks at her broken body with something that might be pity. She died trying to save you. That counts for something. She died trying to avenge her daughter, I correct. But yes. It counts. I rest my head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat, steady, strong, alive, and let myself breathe for the first time in what feels like forever. Through our bond, I feel his exhaustion. The blood ritual he performed to save my life took more from him than he's admitted. Fighting his way through Aldrich's army pushed him past his limits. And shielding me from the soul render's explosion drained reserves he didn't have to spare. He's dying. Slowly, but inevitably. No, I whisper fiercely. No, you don't get to sacrifice yourself after everything we've survived. Arya. Shut up. I pull back enough to meet his eyes, those beautiful silver eyes that saw me at my worst and chose to love me anyway. You gave me your life force when I was dying. Now I'm giving it back. I can feel the guardian healing magic stirring in my blood, finally accessible after 3 years locked away. It's rusty, unpracticed, but it's mine. And I pour every ounce of it into our mate bond, into his failing body, into the wounds I can't see but feel through our connection. Arya, the baby. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Because guardians don't just destroy, Kale. We heal. We protect. We give life as readily as we take it. I press my forehead to his, my hands glowing silver white with power that flows like water through the channels connecting us. So take it. Take my strength. Take everything you need. Because I'm not losing you. Not now. Not ever. The healing magic floods into him, knitting torn vessels, mending damaged organs, restoring what the blood ritual and battle and sacrifice stole. I feel the moment his wolf stops fading, the moment his heart steadies, the moment life returns to eyes that were starting to dim. He gasps, his arms tightening around me. How? Mate bond, I explain, smiling despite the exhaustion. Works both ways, remember? You saved me. I saved you. We're even. We're idiots, he corrects, but he's smiling too. Both of us nearly dying for each other like it's romantic instead of just stupid. It's both. I kiss him then, our first real kiss, tasting blood and ash and survival. The bond between us sings with completion, with recognition, with love that was forged in trauma and tempered in fire. When we finally pull apart, his expression has shifted to something odd. Your face, he whispers. I reach up, touching the scarred side, expecting to feel the familiar ridges and pits. But the texture has changed. The skin is smooth now, not unmarked but transformed. The scars silver instead of ruined, glowing faintly with the same light as my guardian magic. Battle marks, Kale says softly. The moon goddess's blessing. She transforms the scars of survivors into marks of honor. You're not healed, Arya. You're remade. Remade. Not fixed, not repaired, but fundamentally transformed into something stronger than I was before I broke. I like that. Footsteps thunder down the corridor outside, guards, finally arriving now that the battle's over. Raven appears first, bloodied but alive, her eyes widening as she takes in the destruction. Your Majesties, she says formally, then grins. Glad you're not dead. Glad you're not either, I reply. The next hours blur together. Healers examining us both, confirming the baby survived unharmed. Celine arriving with her sons, both alive and protected. The remnants of Aldrich's army surrendering once they realize their leader is dead. And throughout it all, my hand never leaves Kale's. Our bond hums between us, steady and sure, proof that broken things can heal stronger than they were before. 6 months later. Labor is every bit as terrible as I imagined and somehow worse. You're doing beautifully, Marin lies from between my legs where she's monitoring my progress. Just a few more pushes. You said that an hour ago, I gasp, squeezing Kale's hand hard enough to hear bones creak. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill everyone in this room. That's the pain talking, Kale says, wisely not mentioning that my threats are accompanied by enough guardian magic that the lights are flickering. No, that's me talking. Your child has your giant head and it's, oh goddess. The contraction hits like a tsunami. I push, screaming, feeling something finally give way. Then a baby's cry fills the room, strong and indignant and absolutely perfect. A boy, Marin announces, placing the squirming bundle on my chest. Healthy and whole. He's beautiful. All wrinkled and angry and perfect, with a shock of dark hair and eyes that might be silver someday. I'm crying, Kale's crying, everyone's probably crying because this impossible child is real and alive and ours. Wait, Marin says suddenly. There's another one. Arya, you need to push again. What? Twins. She sounds delighted about this surprise. Come on, Luna Queen. One more. The second birth is faster, easier, like my body remembered what to do. And then there's another cry, higher, more demanding, as they place a second bundle beside her brother. A girl, Marin breathes. Twins. A son and a daughter. They're perfect. Both of them. Our impossible children who survived ritual magic and battle and their mother's broken wolf and their father's sacrifice. What do we name them? Kale asks, his voice thick with emotion. I look at my son, who's already trying to shift despite being minutes old, definitely his father's child. Then at my daughter, whose eyes are open and aware in a way that speaks of the guardian magic she'll inherit. Lysander, I decide for the boy. After my father. And Celine, I glance at Kale's sister, who's been hovering by the door, for the aunt who saved my life. Celine's eyes shine with tears. You honor me, Luna. You earned it. The room settles into contented chaos as healers check the twins, servants bring refreshments, and half the palace guard apparently decides they need to peek in at their new prince and princess. But then the temperature drops. Not dangerously. Not like Kale's rage cold. This is different, divine, ancient, carrying weight that makes every wolf in the room instinctively bow. She appears like moonlight made solid. Hair of silver, eyes of stars, a presence that makes my guardian blood sing with recognition and worship. The moon goddess herself. Luna Aria, she says, her voice like music and thunder. Alpha King Kale. Your children are blessed. She touches each baby gently, and they glow silver white for a moment before settling back to normal. But I can feel the change, the divine protection woven into their essence, ensuring nothing can easily harm them. Thank you, I whisper, unable to manage more in the face of divinity. You've earned my favor, the goddess says. Both of you. You've proven that broken things, properly healed, become stronger than they ever were before. She starts to fade, but then pauses, her expression shifting to something grave. But know this, the serpent had many heads. You've cut off only one. Aldrich was powerful, but he was not the architect of this conspiracy. Someone greater pulled his strings, and that someone is still watching. Who? Kale demands. Someone who's been playing a very long game. Someone who wanted the lunar guardian bloodline awakened, not destroyed. Someone who needed you both to become exactly what you are now, powerful enough to be useful, bonded enough to be manipulated. Then she's gone, leaving only moonlight and warnings. The celebration continues, but I can't shake the chill her words left behind. I hold my children close, feeling Kale's solid presence beside me, and try not to think about what threats still lurk in shadows. But outside the palace, hidden in darkness where even the moon goddess's light can't reach, something stirs. A figure watches the celebrations through magic that shouldn't exist, eyes glowing with ancient malice and patient hunger. Perfect, they whisper, their voice carrying echoes of something far older than wolves, far more dangerous than any Alpha King or Luna Guardian. Everything's going exactly according to plan. They think they've won. They think they're safe. A smile that belongs on something dead. Let them enjoy their victory. Let them grow comfortable, confident, careless. And when they finally realize the truth, that they've been dancing to my tune since before either of them were born, it will be far too late to stop what's coming. The figure fades back into shadow, leaving only a calling card. A silver serpent carved from moonstone, its eyes gleaming with stolen divine power. And coiled beneath it, sleeping, waiting, patient as death itself. The real enemy. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily and also, to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.